Hey everyone. Okay, so I wanted to do an update. This is not like a normal video that I typically do on this channel. It's kind of a video that I guess will kind of explain why I want to go into the counseling profession, but it's not the explanation that you probably have heard me explain before in totality. So I am an African American female and I live in Florida. So if you are familiar with a map, you know that's down south. So all my life I grew up north. A portion of my time I lived in Pittsburgh, and the other portion I lived in Ohio, and a small time period I lived in New York. So, basically up north, East Coast, that's pretty much it. It wasn't until it's been about 2.5 years that I have lived down south, which when you think of Florida, I don't know why people don't associate Florida with down south. It's like a weird thing down here. Like they'll go, oh yeah, Southerners. And I'm like, I don't understand how you don't count yourself as a Southerner, especially people that are born and raised down here. Like it's mind blowing. But then again, Florida does not have the highest rate of people that have educations. Like I have not seen too many people I've encountered on a daily basis that have a degree, and that's not saying that a degree means that you're educated, because I know plenty of people that have degrees and let's just say they're not the smartest bunch. But the intellect is just really low. If you are an East Coast person watching this, I'm sure you understand the importance of having an education and actually being educated, because those do not mutually go together all the time. They're not mutually exclusive. So anyways, so I did another video, and I know I always say like, oh, I did another video, reference that, but I did another video where I explained why I only wanted to treat, once I get my license, African Americans. And I had to block like so many trolls, and I really don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for the people that troll my video. I'm doing this for the people that watch my video that are in my demographic, that understand, because we are the ones that were brought over here to actually service people, and we still are being conditioned in that mindset. Like it's insane. So being a woman of color, the perception is that, oh, it's the angry Black woman rhetoric. And people don't ever think about what impact that has on somebody's mental state. They also don't think about how that impacts, everybody around them that comes into this country, and how they perceive people of color that created this country. Like we are looked down upon by people that come into this country, which is just like mind blowing, because I'm like, without people of color fighting for people of color, you wouldn't even be over here. Like it's absolutely insane. Like when you get people from other countries that are of color that want to treat you less than when you are Black, it's just out of control. It's ridiculous. And like, if you're watching this and you're one of those people, you should really be ashamed of yourself. Like you should look at yourself and be like, why am I treating a Black person that I don't even know like trash? So anyways, I am constantly, because I'm only like 5'5", like I'm 5'5", petite, average build person. Like I'm not a big person by any measure, and I shouldn't even have to explain that, but I am constantly, my mother, and my mom's even smaller than me. Like she's only 5'2" and like 100 some pounds. Like she's really small. And so, we are constantly, like, even when we lived up north, being bombarded by racist people. Like it is insane, like this microaggressive mentality. And you know what, we mostly get it from white women. Like, not even kidding, I don't even understand what it is, but outside of racism, because there's really no other explanation, because we are very quiet to ourselves people, and to me, I don't feel like we are doing anything that precipitates people aggressing upon us. So today, I'm making a video before I can go to bed because I have to get this off my psyche. Like I text one of my friends that is in this profession. I'm just like, I got to get this out because like I cannot sleep without doing this. And it's completely ruined my Saturday. So me and my mom were like, oh, it's Saturday. Let's go have fun. So we saw a movie. The movie was okay. It was, what was it? Don't Be Quiet or Be Quiet or Stay Silent, whatever it is. I can't even remember. It wasn't the best. But, and so then we kind of did like some errands because we're going to go to the beach tomorrow, which we end up going super early because if we go in the afternoon or something like that, first of all, the beaches are crowded and like the level of racism is just like out of control. And so we were like, okay, let's just go to our pool. So like we live in because me and my mom live together since, my job transferred me down here and then she found a job down here. We just ended up combining households and moving in together, which has worked out, I feel like, pretty great because like we don't know anybody down here. And so we go to the pool because we're like, oh, we have like this really nice pool and really lavish amenities. Like it's a nice complex. Obviously with any apartment, you're going to have issues, but it's a really luxury apartment, considering the fact the type of people that they're letting rent here. You might think otherwise. So we go to the pool and it's like sunny, 90-degree day. We consider that most of the residents probably won't be outside because it's so hot outside. And, it's one of the first days in a long time. It's been like really like a good hot down here, which I'm excited because then that means summer is almost here, which I know most people are probably like, but you live in Florida. Well, it does get cold here too. And so we go to the pool and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people. Like it's weird because this is a luxury and I'm only emphasizing luxury because the price point is like retarded. Like I could not live here if me and my mom didn't combine incomes and like split the rent. Like I'm not even kidding. But we split everything 50-50. And so, we walk up to the pool and I'm like, I am extremely like crowd phobic. Like I cannot do big crowds. I can barely do small crowds. Like I just like have anxiety. And so I was like, okay, I have my little cocktail, I'm all good. We're going to listen in our earbuds because something just told me before we went there. And I usually never bring my earbuds to the pool, but something today I was like, let's bring our earbuds. And so she's like, oh, okay, let me grab my earbuds. And I should have just went for my intuition because usually your intuition is not lying to you. Which I should have been like, let's just find something. Let's go have dinner. Like I was like, we should have just went and had like tacos and margaritas or something. I don't know. You know how you just like, you feel like the vibe or in the aura is like all wrong. Like I'm a vibe or a person. Like I like my sage, da 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 da. So we go to the pool and there's all these children, which I'm like, there is not that many children that are of this small age that live in this complex. Like it's like a 300 some unit complex. And trust me, you would see if there were this many kids in this complex. So I'm like, what is going on? And like, first of all, you're only allowed to have 2 guests per lease, not 2 guests per people on the lease. 2 guests per lease, and you must be with your guest at all times. And you cannot rent like in the community center, like I guess the clubhouse, like it's a really state-of-the-art gym. It has a sauna and massage area and like all these things. You can rent out space, like they have like this huge like kitchen area, or they have a movie theater you can rent out. Like you have spaces where you can rent out. The pool is not one of them. So when we roll up and we see that all these kids are there and they're inside of the lanai and the grill area, and me and my mom are looking at each other like, what? You can't rent this space out. And mind you, this is during the business hours for the leasing office. So and they've changed staff. Like the last staff when we first moved here were really like A-type personalities. Like they're like, rigid. And I liked it because it kept people in check. It kept the property nice, clean, together, and you felt like you were getting what you paid for. This new staff, no, I already had to complain on the manager here because my mom walked into the office, wasn't greeted anything, and the manager went walking past her talking about, oh, did the black girl give you the keys? Excuse you? Like, are you kidding? It's just, it's insane. Like, black people, we are suffering as a whole. And so I'm making this video because I think a lot of times we feel like we're alone. And so we go to the pool and I'm like, okay, let's just sit here. Let's chill. We'll be here for a couple minutes. Then we'll be in the hot tub. Then we'll be like, okay, let's go get dinner. So we're sitting there and the children, like when I was little, you were taught not to be in adult spaces, especially adults you don't know. Like, I don't know if that's just a cultural thing or like people just don't give a damn and don't teach their children this. And so me and my mom are sitting there where we have one earbud in and we're like sipping on our little cocktail and, we're both kind of irritated, but at the same time, it's like, we just want to enjoy the pool. Like we've already put on our suits. We're already walked over here. Like, okay, let's just like be here for a little bit and then kind of just like head out. So we're making conversation, but like obviously like me and my mom both can vibe off each other. Like we both know we're kind of like, this is just some bullshit. Like we pay way too much money for this. Like you have trash all over the place. Like, and you have kids that are eating in the pool. Like it was just out of control, and a party favor of whistles. Insane. And so we're like, okay, this is just getting ridiculous. And not, mind you, they have the kids like running not only through the entire pool, but the hot tub too, which I'm sorry, if your child is like 6, 7, 8 years old, why are they in the hot tub? And I mean, like, this hot tub is not like lukewarm. Like this is hotter than your average, like hot tub, bathtub, whatever. It's pretty freaking hot. And sometimes, especially on a 90-degree day, like you're going to be like, okay, I can only take like a couple minutes of this and then I'm back to the pool because I need to cool back down. And so we're, sitting there minding our own business. And then there's like basically the whole pool. I'm going to give you the layout because I think in order for me to really explain why I'm going into this film, I need to give it to you straight. All white. All white. And there were two biracial children, and mind you, like they were biracial. Their mother was white. Their father was, or the boyfriend, I don't even know, was black, and the biracial children were way darker than us. And I'm only stating this because when I tell you the height of this story, you'll understand why I'm prefacing that, because there's really no other reason why I'm prefacing this other than it adds to the understanding of this story, because otherwise it doesn't matter. Like to me, if you're lighter, darker, black, like black is black, 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 brown color. Yeah. At the end of the day, people of color. And so, I'm like, okay, I told my mom, I said, oh, they're not in the pool, or they're not in the hot tub. Let's just go over to the hot tub. So she's like, oh, okay, good. Because they had been running in and out of the hot tub and their toys were surrounded like everywhere. Like literally you couldn't even step on anything. Like we were sitting in the pool and there were toys just everywhere. It was insane. Like these people were acting like it was their person. There was like 20 of them, and there was only one black guy and one, I don't know what he was. He could have been like, I don't know, like East Indian or something. I couldn't really tell, like racially ambiguous, but a person of color. And so, that kind of like gives you a perspective. And we were the only black females in there. All white females, Jersey Shore type looking people, if you get what I'm saying. And so I am like, let's go to the hot tub. So we go to the hot tub and we're not even in there. I kid you not. We're not even in there like 5 minutes, if that, truly. And there is like a sea of children, and I'm not kidding, like 8 of them come swarming, jumping, diving into the sauna. Like the sauna is like, come on, or not sauna, hot tub. Look at a hot tub. They're not that big. Like they're not, like I think this holds maybe comfortably 8 adults if you know them. And so, they're coming and they're just bombarding. Like it's insane. I'm like, what in the world? No adults are by the hot tub watching them. But they were so busy all up in our faces, the children and the adults, when we were at the pool, just like sitting at the poolside. The level of jealousy coming from these women towards me and my mother was out of control. And if I have to explain what I mean by that, then this video is not for you, because you already know what I mean when I say the jealousy, because you have a group of white women with their black men, and then they have black females sitting there. So the energy, you could already tell, was like, we're sitting there like, I don't give a care anyways. Like either which way, I don't care, because that's not what I do. And I don't vibe off of people I don't know. I don't know anything about you, so I have no reason to sit here and be staring in your face with a grimace on my face. And that's exactly what was going on. It was just like, as soon as we came in, I'm like, wow, you don't even know me from a can of paint, but you want to sit here and give us dirty looks. Like, okay. I pay way too much money. I'm not about to just leave, because this is my weekend. I work all week, a full-time job, and I go to school full-time. I need to have some time that's a woo-saw moment, that I should not have to feel like I have to dance around what I'm paying for. That's insane. That makes no sense. Even while I'm talking right now, my head is on fire. I've been just sitting so irritated. I don't even have an appetite. I'm so pissed. And I know most people that are watching this are probably like, okay, is this another one of her rant videos? But it's just so annoying. It's so annoying being black and white spaces. You can never understand it unless you live it. And so anybody watching this video that has anything adverse to say, first of all, you'll get blocked. And second of all, you're not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people that are affected by this. Not only that, but this is something that is the reason why so many black people walk around on edge, anxiety driven, depressed, nervous, all these things, because we're constantly being attacked and then made to feel like we did something when we didn't. So when the kids start jumping in the hot tub, my mom's like, okay. She turns to the kids and she's like, you guys need to have an adult in here, because the sign clearly says must be 14 years or older and be accompanied by an adult. They're definitely not 14. And when it says accompanied by an adult, not just any adult, whoever you belong to, because if something happens to you in this hot tub, that's not going to be our responsibility, because I'm not going to take onus on children I don't know and then be subjugated to whatever penalties might happen if something happens to their children, and then they want to blame us like we did something to them, because as a black person, you always have to think in advance. In white spaces, you have to always think okay, let me see what's going on. Let me take surveillance of everything around here. So even in that moment, I'm like, oh, no. You're not going to have a whole group of white children in this hot tub with 2 black women and their white mothers that are all the way at the other end by the lanai, which is not by the hot tub. It's actually inside of a building that's screened in. So you're not even by your children, first of all. And so these children, I'm telling you, they teach their children to be racist young. So when people are like, oh, they're children, they're innocent, you're only as innocent as the information you've been given as a child. Know that much. And so, I was like, when my mom said that, I just kind of looked like, what's the sign say? And so the little girl went to whispering, and they're looking like, and now mind you, they're like in elementary school, but very sassy in their attitude. Let me just tell you that. And I know you can play innocent all you want about children, but they can be nasty. So we was just like, listen, I'm not even here for this. Like, we was already kind of like, okay, a couple more minutes and we're out. We just wanted to be like, let's use our amenities that we never get to use because we have busy lives. And so, the kids go running off, kind of like, I'm going to tell my mother. Okay, good. Then she should bring her behind over here and watch you, because that's the freaking rules. Not for us to watch you. So here comes these two walking over and want to sashay and slam their behinds in a chair, and then want to stare at me and my mother and then mumble and grumble like, oh, you should be happy that my mother cared enough to tell your children that they need to be supervised, so that if something happened to them, that maybe you would be responsible for stepping in and doing something, because I definitely will not take that onus. Because let this also be a lesson to people. I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you try and perform CPR on somebody, or the Heimlich, or even if you try and do something to help them breathe, like you have to do a tracheotomy or whatever it's called, and put the straw and get the air and blah, blah, that those people can turn around and sue you and win. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you really have to be careful. Especially as a Black person, you really have to consider what your surroundings are. And I know some people are going to be like, but where I live, people are cool, blah, blah. They're all cool until a situation happens. So just know that. And so they want to come over there and stare. So me and my mom are just still chilling, like, okay, what are we gonna eat? Like, we're so, this is the sad but funny thing is, we're so used to the micro and straight aggressive behavior from white women, especially, that it is just like an everyday occurrence. It really is an everyday occurrence. I've had so many white women in my lifetime just like blatantly attack me. It's ridiculous. Like, then you'll have other ones that are like, oh my God, I love you, Camille, blah, blah. And I'm just kind of like, it's just weird. And it more so than any other culture of people, it's always white women in their 30s and 40s. It's so weird. So if somebody that's white in their 30s and 40s and they're Black, because I'm in my 30s and my mom's in her 50s, and you experience this, let me know if this is just something that happens to us. Like, we need to burn more sage or what? Because I thought moving states, even though this is Florida, I thought that something was going to be like, okay, we're having new surroundings. It's sunny. Like, how can you be mad when it's sunny outside? Like, we have the beach, we have Disney, we're right off the Gulf of Mexico. Like, be happy. Like, what in the heck? And so she's like snarling at my mother and then wants to mumble something. And then I told my mom, because, I'm the type of person where I'm just like, hey, there's only but so much I'm going to put up with, and I'm going to snap. And usually by that point, I'm like, let's just remove ourselves from the situation, which you should always try and do, is to remove yourself from any situation that you feel like you are unsafe and feel like something is going to occur. So I told my mom, I said, let's just leave, because like they're intentionally bringing all the children into the hot tub just to be rude, like at that point. And it was very clear, because many of the children that were walking in there had no dealings with wanting to be in the hot tub, but then all of a sudden they want to try and do cannonball jumps in there. But oh yeah, you're the parent of the year. And so my mom's like, yeah, let's just leave. And so this chick literally wants to be like, yeah, because there's parents here now watching their children. Oh, then it was on and popping. I said, good, because you need to follow the rules. I said, not only that, why are all these children in here anyways? I said, this is not for children of this age. It's for children of 14 and over. I said, you need to leave because this isn't even where you live. Like, I've never seen this chick in my entire life. And I've been here for like a year, and this property is pretty new, and you pretty much get familiar with the faces that you see. And most of these people up in here never even seen, like, where was the real resident for all of these guests? And so, you know, this pompous, like, I did live here. Over on somebody else's bill, mine, I'm sure. And so I was like, yeah, really? You pay for all these children here and they all pay their rent too? I don't think so. You don't need to be talking like that in front of my children. I said, and who do you think you're talking to? You're not about to disrespect me or my mother because you got told that you need to be over here watching your children if they're in the hot tub, and now you want to have an attitude about it. You should be thanking me that I actually wanted you to watch your children, because apparently you have to be told to do that. Oh, then you have all these other white people that weren't even with them. Some of them were and some of them were, want to jump bad in me and my mom's face. Really? You want to jump into two black women's face, a whole group of white people? When I say a whole group, there had to be at least 15 of them against two black women that are petite. Oh yes, because we must have morphed into the big black man that, you know, is the biggest problem. And so the audacity to be up in our faces, talk about hit me. First of all, I don't even know if you guys can tell just by my mere demeanor, I am not like some little hoodlum chick like these Jersey Shore looking chicks were, like just straight trash. And I'm looking like, okay, like I thought you were an adult, but clearly you're showing me juvenile tendencies, because no true parent should be upset when children are like, oh, these adults told me that I couldn't be in there because it needs to be an adult. Like, you should have been like, well, why were you over there? You already know that I needed to be there. But since they probably have horrible reading comprehension skills, they weren't over there. And I don't even care how raw this is, because this is the root of the problem that black people have when they are black in white spaces, which is why it's so important for all of you black people watching that want to be counselors, that you make sure that you put the black community first. Because to get into this field and be a person of color and not advocate for the people in the black community does a disservice and does nothing to enrich us. So yeah, that's super harsh, but some of y'all need to hear this, because it ain't about a kumbaya for everybody. It's just simply not. And so, you know, you have men, white men, and all these white women screaming, ranting, raving, trying to fight me, my mom, and I'm looking like, So I like, cause you know, you're not about to touch my mom. So I put myself in between this thing and my mother, and she's like, hit me. I'm like, you need to back up. Like, I don't know where you came from, what you was raised to do, but you clearly have no class, and clearly you're drunk because like I was probably maybe like 5 steps into a week drink, and y'all been out here, you could tell, for a good long minute, and the cups was definitely not Hawaiian punch, okay? And so she's talking about hit me. And I was like, okay, you need to back up, because you're about to have a real problem. Because what I'm not is one of these passive black people that you're used to down here. I was not raised down here. You know, being raised in Pittsburgh and living in Manhattan, on the island, like you, what you're not about to do is start some crap with me and then think I'm just going to be like, oh, okay, it was just a miscommunication. No. So black people need to stop, first of all, being so passive, because the passivity creates this, you think you are going to come at us, because that's what they're not going to do. You come at me crazy, you're going to get checked. you're going to get checked, and you're going to get checked super hard. And anytime I see you, because the funny thing about it is I'll be back at that pool every day now, because what you're not going to do is have me paying these high prices and think that you're going to corner me out of amenities that I pay for. That's what you're not going to do. And so, jumping bad. And so then this white guy, that I know, because I've seen him several times, does not belong to this crew. But he want to put his white behind in the middle of it, because, when it's Black people, we don't team up with each other like we're supposed to, but they do. So take notes, okay? And so they want to team up, and he want to come out of nowhere, like literally. I don't even know where he came from, but when it's against Black people, everybody that wants to be against us, they somehow they don't know each other, but they best friends for right now. And so, he was like, you guys just stop, de-escalate it. Why are you telling us to de-escalate it when you have a whole cackling group over here attacking us? Really? We're responsible for de-escalating their escalation? I don't think so. And you're not going to talk crazy at me and not get it right back. So you're going to get some words spit in your face, not literally spitting in your face, but some words being spitted towards your face. They're going to let you know that what you said to me was crazy, and I'm not going to take it. Like, I'm not going to take it. My mother's not going to take it. My mom is 50 plus years old. She grew up during the time period where they were busing them into schools. Like, segregation was still a thing. And actually, if you look up schools in Florida, I don't know if y'all are aware, but there are still some schools down here that are segregated, and some proms that are segregated. So, when people are like, oh, we've come so far. Oh, okay. We've come so far from our delusional state. That's another thing that I cannot wait to get my license, because the deprogramming of the Black mind needs to commence. It just really needs to commence, because there's a lot of people, and I don't want to say weak-minded, but they have been conditioned to feel like they cannot stick up for themselves for fear of the repercussion. So then you have the two grandparents of these biracial children that I had said in the beginning want to come up. Now they're like, maybe 60, 70-ish. Listen, that's what they look to me. And so, talking about, oh, you guys are just so disgusting. I can't even believe I'm in a pool with your kind, and always a problem with your kind. Just get out of here. Get out of my country type shit. And I'm like, get out of your country? Do you have something new to say? And so I'm just like, y'all are so one note. Like, so one note. Like, at that point, it's just like, you're so one note. And so I'm telling this chick she need to get up out of my face and, like, goodbye. Oh, well, I'm all natural. She tries to, like, put her flailing body all near me. I'm like, you need to back up. And I'm like, oh, so you're trying to pretend like my body is fake because I actually work out, and I actually am not sitting on my behind popping out 5 children that I can't even afford to take care of? Okay. Thanks for the ass backwards compliment. And so, he's like, you're kind. And so the white girl that apparently must be the mother to these 2 dark biracial children. And I preface that because when you say biracial, sometimes people picture people like my complexion or lighter with my hair texture, because unfortunately, people want to challenge whether I'm biracial or not. And like, I can go back like 5 to like almost 7 generations, and there's not a single white person anywhere. Now, what could have happened on the plantation? Yes, I took it all the way back there because listen, and that's what it was, and we all know what that was. But as far as my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents were all Black. And then that was like, I can go through my family books, and that's what it is. So when people try and challenge me, like, oh, you've got to be mixed with something, I'm like, have you been to the continent of Africa? Do you not see how many countries there are? How many people that range in all complex? Like, first of all, Black women can create multiple types of hair color, eye color, skin color, texture, height, weight, you name it, bone structure, everything. Like, we literally can embody so many different genetic makeups, biological makeups that, change your appearances. So when people say that, especially when I get it from Black people, I just be like, I can't today with you. I'm not even going to entertain you because you cannot have a reaction to everything. And so that's the thing. It's like, you can't have a reaction to everything, but when you are being literally attacked, I'm not going to stand by. I'm not going to just like dismissively walk like a dog with my tail between my legs. Like I did something for being Black in white spaces that I pay for. It's annoying. It's so annoying. And he's over time, oh, I can't believe I'm in, I was even in a pool with your kind. And why is there always something wrong with people like you? Why do you guys always have to start stuff? And I'm like, start stuff? Because we said that the children had to have an adult watching that. Like, I'm so, like, even right now, I'm so confused. I'm like, so you're mad because we told your children that you need to go get a parent to watch you, and you're upset because you had to come and do your job like that. And my mom kept screaming, you're just upset because we weren't going to babysit your children, which happens all the time. Like we will literally have random white people. Like we were just on the beach last weekend and this random white girl came up and she was like, oh, I'm about to go for a walk down the beach. Can you watch my stuff? There's like a sea of freaking white people everywhere, and you're going to go beeline past all these white people to the Black people. It's like this constant, like, subconscious or conscious thing that they do where it's like they think that we're still here to service them. And that for Black people, I know I'm not the only one. It is so exhausting. It is so, so exhausting. Like, it's exhausting because it's like, and I was like, no, I was like, I'm not going to be held responsible for your stuff. Like, I'm on the beach to relax. Like, what? Like, I was just so confused. I was like, no. Like, I've even been at coffee shops and, like, say there's, like, a white guy sitting beside me and he's like, oh, can you watch my stuff? Like, usually I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, usually I don't want to, but I'm not going to be, like, rude. I'll just be like, oh, okay, yeah, not anymore because I don't really go to coffee shops. And even if I did, I'm so over this racist BS that's happening. Like, watch your own crap, because next thing you know, if something happened to it not working, you try and blame me for, like, pouring coffee on it or something. I don't know. It's so annoying. And so then this white guy that wasn't with them, like I was saying before, comes up out of nowhere and is like, yeah, there's always something with you two. Why is there always something going on with you two when you guys are here? And I'm like, what? I'm like, first of all, like, we are never at this pool. Like, when I say never, I mean, like, I can't count how many times we've been at the pool because they don't spray really well. Like, the pool is backed up to like this body of like water, I guess you'd say. And the city has come and sprayed for these no-see-um bugs. And I never get bit, but these no-see-um bugs, which are essentially like smaller than gnats, but bite like mosquitoes and hurt. I mean, like, hurt. And just if I get bit by a bug, that's a problem, because all my life, I've never really been bitten by a bug. I think I've been stung by a bee a couple times, but bitten by like a mosquito like most people get, I'm just, I guess, one of those people that don't have the blood type that they like. Oh. And so he's like, there's always a problem. Why is there always a problem with you two? What? So I'm thinking to myself, oh, so there must be another set of Black women that y'all probably did this to, and you're assuming we're the same Black women. That's why you're popping this attitude. Because I'm looking at him like, I've seen you maybe like 2 or 3 times in this pool. Usually you're with your daughter, and usually we're chilling in the hot tub talking to another set of residents that, yes, are white. Because I want to preface this because it's not like oh, I just don't talk to any white people, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not that at all. It is giving perspective, because even the one lady that was in there, I guess, was friends with one of these chicks. Her and her boyfriend, like the previous year, for the few times we went there, because the bugs, when I tell you, oh my God, they hurt. So we avoid going there quite often. You know, we would chill, we would relax, we would talk, blah, 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 blah. Like even the one other girl, I think she's from Australia or something, just last weekend we were over at the pool and we were like trying to spray like this DIY stuff that we made to like try and see if that'll get rid of the no-see-um bugs. And she was white and her boyfriend was black, but he's like really fair skin, and they had their 2 children. And so we were all just kind of talking, like me and my mom and this lady, about like the bugs, and you know, because it's just such a topic on the property because we're in Florida and these bugs are crazy. It's like mosquitoes on drugs. And so just to give you perspective, like I really don't feel like I should have to even like go into that detail to be like, we're not confrontational people. But so when he said that, I kind of looked like, what are you even talking about? Like, I've seen you 3 times in this pool and never once have I said anything to you. Never once has there ever been any incidents that me and my mom have ever had in this pool, like ever. And we never even come in here. Like we hadn't even really been doing the club because the new management, like I had said, with the whole black girl comment and not greeting my mom several times, and my mom having to make complaints to the regional manager, which then the regional manager reviewed the tapes and actually fired some of the staff because of the way they were treating us. So, you know, and the regional manager is white. All the staff is white. So if what we were saying was untrue, trust and believe, they would not be getting fired. And it was solely based on her reviewing the tapes. And so, which trust me, I'm trying, like I only have like a few more months on this lease, and I really can't wait. Like I'm going to start searching to buy a house, because even that's a challenge, because I don't want these type of people as my neighbors. Like you, it's so insane. Like it's like you're constantly stuck. And so I know I'm like going like all over the place, but that's just kind of how my mind is right now. And so we like end up leaving, and there's like a black guy that's sitting at the edge that's not with them. And he's like walking us like, you know, don't let them steal your happiness. But at the same time, like, okay, you saw all this going down, and you as a black man never even once stood up to be like, why are you attacking these women? So like we get out, and it's like this weak mentality. We get out of the pool or out of the pool area, and he's like, yeah, he's like, that was really crazy. I saw what they were doing to you guys. They just were like attacking you for no reason. He's like, that has a lot to do with their lack of maturity. And he's like, they're just really juvenile. I'm like, yeah, that makes no sense. Like why? Like there's 2 of us and there's like 12 plus of you, and that doesn't even include the children. And so he's like, yeah, he was like, just don't let it steal your happiness. But at the same time, when I like went back to my apartment and took my shower and stuff, I was thinking like, you saw the whole thing. And as a black male, why didn't you step up to be like, I need to step in, just like how they had their little random white men stepping in for their crazy behind. Like you're sitting over there on the sideline just watching this. Like it was so like, really? Okay. And just to have the one that was like, oh, we should just call the cops. We should just call the cops. Like almost like as a threat. Like how are you going to call the cops on me? First of all, this private property that I live on. So yeah, let's see that happen. And second of all, it was like the way it was said was like definitely meant to be like, yeah, let's call the cops because, you know, they'll shoot them up. But funny thing is that the black guy that y'all have over here, they probably gonna beeline to him first before they even stop at us, like truth be told. But it's just the mere fact, like you sit up here, you have grandchildren that are biracial, that by all standards of the American screwed up way of identifying race, because I feel like that's just, it's a social construct. We know that. But you're going to sit up here and say all these racial things. And then the girl that apparently was the mother of these was like, first she was the one popping like, hit me. And I'm like, hit you? Like, I've never even been in a physical fight with somebody. So I'm like, hit you? Oh, okay. Like, you clearly are dealing with low intelligence, because like really all over being told to watch your children, like you're so upset that I wasn't going to play house nanny for you. Like that's really what it comes down to. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, right. So you have these black children, and yet you want to say, I'm going to call the cops, like it's a threat on my life, because that's exactly how I take it, which also lets me know that white people know that when these black people are getting shot, especially you black men that want to stand beside these white women that are a part of the problem, like the black man that was with them, standing there facing them, knowing better not face us because he would have got rep for his life. And when I sit up here and allow this to occur, and you know it's a complete racist rant, because I don't even have to explain it for people that are of color. Like when something is racist, you know it. When you know somebody's just being a jerk because they're being a jerk, like trust me, I've had plenty of interactions with people that are white, and I'm just like, I don't even feel like it's a race thing all the time. A lot of times I feel like, okay, you're just nasty. And sometimes I'll even sit back and then I'll see them being nasty to even white people. And I'll be like, yeah, they're just nasty. So I don't think that you really should look at everything as a race issue, although a huge majority of things are race related, the way people interact, because it's like this constant undertone heartbeat that's going on where people are always on edge, like people of color are on edge because we feel like we always have to compress our feelings, because what I really wanted to do was rant, rage, go crazy, and just like literally have everybody kicked out of there and just like flail my arms and like that's my internal. But it's like, yeah, I'm gonna give you some few choice words, and I'm gonna let you know that I'm not the passive black person that perhaps you're used to down here. And like your behavior is not going to stop me from coming to a pool that I pay for. Like you want to call maintenance and get security, good, because I've called maintenance and security on plenty of you in here and nothing happened. So clap, clap, good for you. Like what you going to say? She told us that our children need to. Yeah, I did. And maybe when the people come, the maintenance people, they're going to be pissed off because they see all this trash and debris in a usually gorgeous pool area, completely trashed with kid toys, kid drink cups, pizza on plates with no intent of throwing them in the trash. There was a freaking Huggies bottle floating in the water. And I'm just like, this is insane. Like these prices are too high for this. People say you get what you pay for. Well, shit. Where is that? Because even when I go to hotels, I try and save my little pennies up and go to a really nice hotel, because I try to eliminate certain crowds of people. And so, because I don't like crowds. And so, we're leaving, and just the mere fact that it like basically ruined the rest of our day. Like I took a shower, I had no appetite, which wasn't the case when we went there. I was like, oh yeah, like we're gonna drink, and I was all kind of like, maybe we'll go to our favorite little taco place. But it just completely soured the entire freaking day. Like I'm so angry, I'm depressed, I'm freaking on edge. And so going into this counseling field, I feel like my experience, and this is just one of thousands of experiences. Like my mom literally grew up where they were still busing them in, like I said earlier. And like she had a little boy pull her hair and spit in her face and call her the N-word. And the teacher sided with the little boy. Like it's insane. Like these are not things that are so far removed, people. And so many of us, people of color, black people especially, we're walking around with all of these things happening to us, and we are not able to really give our full emotion, because here they are, they can rail off and go crazy and nothing ever happens to them. Let us do even a small portion of that, and trust me, it'll be a news headline if we even make it to that point, And so it's just annoying. It's annoying, and it's like constantly feeling like you're less than, like constantly being degraded in a country that we built. Like, we really should be held to a high regard because we worked while y'all didn't feel like working. And then that's the honest truth. Like, people aren't going to like to hear that, but that's exactly how America was built. Like, that's how it was built. It was built on the backs of Black people. And it's like, y'all have such a disdain for us, where Black people are really communal, honest people, hardworking people, contrary to the fake news that does go out there, because we actually really do try and mind our own business. Like, most of us aren't trying to engage with people that we don't know, no matter what color they are. Like, we just aren't those type of people that are going to just like come up to your face. At least I know for me, my mom, and a lot of people that I interact with, we're just not those people. And so, it's just really annoying to know that there's so many other Black people that are people of color that experience things like this and worse. Because, we could go all day into the false arrest, and that's if you make it. Unfortunately, you have to go, oh, you were arrested, at least you didn't get shot up. It's horrible. And so, we have to go through this type of life and be made to feel like we're less than, and yet we have to compress it. Why? Because most of us work in environments that are predominantly white, live in neighborhoods that are predominantly white. And even if you live in neighborhoods that are quote unquote Black or diverse, you still have to cross the color lines to do certain lines of business in your life. Like, you just do. Like, there's really not enough Black owned things where Black people can have safe places. It's really a problem because we don't have enough people that we can talk to when these experiences happen, that we cannot feel so isolated. And so I feel like many Black people are internally hurting and feeling like they can't be who they want to be. They have to second guess everything that they do. Especially around white people, you have to think in advance, like, okay, I'm going on a job interview. Should I wear my hair natural? I do. Should I wear my hair natural? I need to talk a certain way. I need to make sure that I don't look like I'm intimidating, because I don't want to scare anybody. Like, I don't want to scare, like, I don't feel like I look scary, but she hasn't put any makeup on right now. And usually, I'm pretty much like real chill, natural looking anyways. I mean, you might catch me in some Fenty Beauty sometimes, not gonna lie. But for the most part, like, I'm not an intimidating person by any measure, and I shouldn't even have to explain that. And so it's just like really upsetting. And I want to make sure that when I go into this field, that I am taking our youth, because I hate to see our youth being influenced by these type of people, and then they grow up and it's like this weak, passive mindset that they've been conditioned to have, that makes them feel ashamed to be who they are. Like, our children need to be taught, like, that screen on your phone, that was invented by a Black person. That ice cream that you like to eat in the summer, that ice cream was invented by a Black person. Cheryl's cookies actually came from a Black person. Like, when you're learning how to drive, that stoplight was created by a Black person. The first vehicle created was by a Black person. Like, really, what needs to occur is the take back of our education system. And really, if you want to have your quote unquote Black History Month, it needs to be Black Enrichment Month. And let's not keep going to Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks. Like, just stop it already, because that does not really put in perspective the influence that we've had to create the society that we live in. It doesn't. Because there's a lot of people walking around thinking white people invented everything. And no, you didn't. Like, no, you didn't. That's just it. Y'all were not even the people that were working. Like, Black people were working, so we had to think of creative ways to reduce the work that we were doing, as far as like making it easier and more sufficient so that we could get things done. So that's when the mind starts going about creating. Like, if you think about a creator, they're only thinking about creating something to make something easier for them to do. So if you're not doing something, why would you think to create something to make it easier? Like, if you just think about that logically, it wouldn't make any sense to say Black people didn't invent hardly anything that influences the American culture, and actually worldwide. And so I really want to make sure that people understand the reason why I am so strong on my advocacy for dealing with the Black community, because we are suffering. We constantly feel isolated. Even when we're amongst Black people, there is a mentality that needs to be switched up and recoded, because there's a lot of people that feel like, situations like today, it's depressing, but I'm a person that have been through so much that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a few hours, I'm gonna just like sleep it off, and I'll be back to doing me. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect me. And so there's Black people that walk around, and literally I've known especially Black women, and stuff like this will have them down for like a whole week. And they'll be like all in their feelings. Don't let somebody white come and ask them, even if they're like, hello, they'll be like this. And and people are like, oh, that constant attitude, but you're not thinking why. You're not thinking of what is the constant occurrence? What's the common denominator with the perception of Black people? It's being Black in white spaces. And people don't want to acknowledge that that is a problem, because let a white person be in an all Black space, I can promise you they're going to feel uncomfortable. Why? Because the cultural differences are so severe. Like, people want to be like, oh, we're all humans. But we live in a social constructed society that has dictated how people are treated. So to try and wash over and say all lives matter and we're all human and we're all one race. Well, first of all, we're not all one race, the human race. We're all different people. So to say that is to negate my Blackness, which I actually love my Blackness. And I'm never going to feel ashamed of that. I'm not going to feel ashamed of my skin. I'm not going to feel ashamed of my hair. I'm never going to be ashamed of being a Black woman. What I am ashamed of is seeing Black people take this weak state of mind when dealing with people that are being racist towards them. And I feel like it is a mental illness. It really is post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic slave disorder. It's just, it's really heartbreaking to see Black people, and people want to be instant to be like, oh, you're a coon. But I've never been called a coon, but there are people that you're instantly like, they're labeling, oh, you're coon. And so I really think that people, especially Black people, so that we can really uplift each other, we need to not be so quick to judge each other. And I know I'm guilty of that too, because when I think people should be reacting in situations like what me and my mom just had to go through, like, you got to check people, because you got to let people know, like, I'm not weak-minded, and more Black people need to start doing that, because if you don't stand up for yourself in these moments in time, that same behavior is going to be continue. Like, they're going to think that they can do that continuously. And I'm sure they still do, because they definitely look like the type of crowd they just pop off all the time. And trust me, it's that stereotypical, you're with a Black male, and so Black females are your enemy. And listen, I'm not in your relationship. I don't know what you do, what you don't do, but what I do know is that you have a Black man standing there with the grandparents to his Black children saying racist rants, and that you're just standing there in the sunken place saying nothing. That I do know. And so I think that Black people really need to have outlets. Like, we need to have outlets where we can come together, talk about it, work on it, build on it, and move forward in our free spaces. I just really want to be able to like take people and be like, okay, let's go through certain scenarios that you feel have impacted you in your life based on who you are as a person and who you are as a person of color, because those are two separate things. Like, who you are as a person, you can be straight garbage, but you can be a Black person, but you could be straight garbage. And so, there are two constant parallel dynamics that are continuously going with anybody, no matter what color you are. Like, but with Black people, I feel like we don't even really say hi to each other. Like, I am pretty much like, either I know you or I don't know you. But if I don't know you and you're like, you make eye contact with me, I might, get a nod, like, hey, with Black women, I'll smile, I'll say hello, because I know sometimes Black women, they'll be apprehensive, and I really want to get to the bottom of that, because stop grimacing at each other. Like, I'll make a purpose to be like, oh, hi, like, because I feel like somebody's got to open that up. You got to make it like, I'm not your enemy. Like, we have a lot going on just as women of color. Like, we shouldn't be infighting each other. And so in the counseling profession, I really want to break down these barriers. When you have other communities, marginalized communities, they want to break down their barriers, and nobody says anything. As soon as you're a Black person and you want to talk about breaking down barriers as a Black person, all of white America will come and attack you. I'm sure when I upload this, it'll be like out of control. Maybe not. Listen, this is my truth. And this is unfortunately the truth of a lot of people of color, not just Black people. And so I really think that white people are like, oh, you're just always trying to say that we're doing something to you. But I'm like, I don't even think sometimes that they even understand why they're so angry at a random Black person that they don't even know. I do, because sometimes I'll just be looking at them and I'm like, you don't even know why you're so mad right now. Like, what it is that you've been ingrained in your head that you are better than somebody of color, not always by verbalization of you are better than these people anytime you see them, but by action. If you constantly live in a society that you see Black people getting treated a certain way, and then you see a white person getting treated better, in your mind, you're going to be like, oh, that Black person, they shouldn't be treated that way. They shouldn't be treated nicely because, I've never seen them being treated nicely. I've never seen this happen, and that's starting from a young age, because as an adult, you're kind of already concrete set in your mind. But when you're a child, you're kind of like exploring the world. You're looking around, you're being taught, and things are being ingrained that are really hard to take back out. Like, there's a couple people that I've seen videos and they're like, oh, I'm no longer racist. And I'm like, okay, I guess we'd have to define what you consider to be racist, because I've had a lot of people say racist crap and then they follow it with, but I'm not racist. And I'm like, what? So yeah, I want to continue getting my licensure and focusing on the Black community, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because go to the people that only want to focus on the LGBTQ community and have a problem with that. Like, if you want to only focus on the white community, trust me, there's plenty of people out there that do just that. They just don't advertise it as only white community. They just kind of only find and take clients that are white and seem to never have staff or anybody else of color. So, that's okay too. Nobody says anything when the Asian community, no matter, if you're East Indian or Chinese, Japanese, Korean, like Vietnamese, Nobody has a problem when these people want to focus on their own communities. It is solely when Black people say they want to only focus on their community, because what it is Black people say, I want to focus on my community because white people are treating me bad. And I think that's the problem that they have. When these other communities say, oh, I want to focus on my community because I want to enrich it, they never say to your face is because white people are treating them bad. But being a person of color and being allowed into some of those spaces, that's what I hear. And if you don't like hearing that and you're a white person, then maybe you should check yourself or check the people around you. And when you see that something is wrong and that's happening to a person of color, what are you doing to stop the white supremacist behavior? Like, it's not going to stop until it is everybody working together to stop it. And I really do not feel like it's going to end in my lifetime, my children's lifetime. I don't think it's going to. And I know that's horrible to say, but like, this is only picking up more speed. Like, it's definitely not subduing. And when people are like, but we had a Black president, so that's what we're going to do. Like, isn't that the equivalency of saying I had a Black friend? Like, you cannot be serious. So, I know this video is extremely long, but I needed to say what I had to say, and I am going to upload this video and, let the cards lay where they lay. I'm going to advocate for Black people. I'm going to advocate to make sure that our mental health is taken care of, because a lot of us are suffering, and you might see a Black person and they just like one little thing and they just explode, and you're like, whoa. Like, okay, so what was the real reason for that? Like, that's my first mindset. I'd be like, okay, what was the real reason for that explosion? Because people that are not from this culture or don't have the mindset of understanding the reason behind the emotion might be like, oh, that person's just overreacting, like, calm down. Which I hate when people say calm down. Like, if you're a counselor, please never tell your clients to calm down. Like, no, that's just, don't say that. And so I'm always like, okay, so whatever happened in this one event that I'm seeing has triggered something that really was detrimental, that really has impacted them, and they're bringing those emotions forward. And so you really have to understand that PTSD for people of color, it's real, and it's not to be a joke. It's not to be dismissive, and it's really not something to take lightly, because there's a lot of Black people that are walking around with extreme depression and anger depression. Like, I sometimes feel like I get into a state of anger depression because I get really irritable, and to the point where I'm like, I isolate myself, like, because I don't want to even be around anybody. So it's not like I have anger depression and I'm just like around people and I'm like, like going crazy. Like, those are the points where I'm like, I need to recenter myself, and I just can't be around people. So that was that was what happened today. And, maybe I need to start doing more videos of updates on me so that you guys know who I am. And it's not just so like, oh, this is the issue with school. I have one more week left in this semester. Thank goodness. So that just means, getting closer to being done, to kind of put a more positive spin on this, because I hate to leave things in a downtrodden way. But, being Black, I guess it's a crime. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.